invite CEO, mentor, Mr. Armand Puyolt to this call. I mean, this man needs no introduction. If you're in Vida Divina, you know who he is, but this man has helped change a lot of lives. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am in life right now if it wasn't for Mr. Armand Puyolt. So he has some interesting stuff to share with us tonight. He has a powerful training. So with no further introduction, Mr. Armand Puyolt.
Pause, everybody. Give me 1 second here. Can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear, and I've made you the co-host, so you should be able to.
Fantastic, fantastic. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me put something together. Okay, here we are. Very good. So how's everybody doing? Is this pretty cool in the sense that things are happening pretty quickly? Within Vida Divina, I don't know if you guys have noticed, we've launched a brand new wing of the company, and within the last, since I believe Mother's Day, we've had a lot of people try a lot of new product that we've had. We're going to be launching formally at the convention. It is something that, to me, is something that has been very powerful in many ways, because it's, a lot of people don't expect a almost 7-year-old company to be buying out a $100 million company, and launching a line that's been out there since the 80s, so it's something that is pretty powerful for us, as a matter of fact. A lot of people who have been asking, especially if you're ever into the skincare line. I know a lot of you may not be. That's fantastic. That's not a problem. Most people are. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I can see people. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. If for any reason, just go ahead and text the, audios out or whatever it is. But one of the really cool deals about this deal that we have is that these products are not just skincare, just so you guys know. And because I know a lot of people, especially in the Black community, in the Latin community, they're like, we don't use the skincare, we don't need the skincare or whatever. But the more you understand the technology behind this, I think we will. And that's one of the cool things about this deal right now, because this product has been in hospitals since the 80s, basically. They've been using it, a lot of dermatologists, a lot of surgeons have used the technology behind this product over and over and over. It's basically the only wound care ingredient out there in the world. There's nothing out there like this. And so what makes this powerful is that these products are, to me, it's a product that, if you have scar tissue, if you have, just stuff on your skin that, you can't understand why, it's not going away. This stuff really works for that. Now, with, the technology behind all this, and when it started working, it's something that's pretty powerful, because guess what? And I know I see it when somebody texts me, I'm Black and I love skin product. Well, you know what? I'm Latin and I love them. But we are the exceptions to the rule, because guess what? The majority do not. It's like, but it's about teaching on what these products can do for you, because there's a lot of, for example, wrinkles, and people love to not have these wrinkles anywhere. It doesn't matter where you come from or who you are, where you're at, right? And when they notice that these products actually, these wound care products actually start becoming anti-aging with the skin, of multiple people around the world, they started creating a skin line that dermatologists start using. So that's why the product's so famous with dermatologists. And it's a product that's already been out there in the market. It's already been going around the world. It's already open in multiple countries worldwide. I mean, it's just literally being shipped everywhere that I can be aware of. And it opens up a huge market for everyone. And that's one of the things I want you to talk about today. It's like the market that maybe you're not into skincare. Like most guys are not into skincare, and we understand that. Most women are. That's what made Mary Kay very popular, very famous, and very powerful. That's why there's a lot of companies out there that are making a lot of money, selling skincare. So we can teach people about skincare. Basically, a lot of people are going to start using the product, and it's something that is pretty powerful. Now, this is not a regular skincare product that you'll find somewhere. I mean, you can go look at stuff at Robinson May or Nordstrom's for $500 an ounce to $1,000 an ounce, and it doesn't give you the same power in skincare as this does. So that makes it pretty powerful. Now, the next step is when we're looking at this, and we're going to be launching this pretty powerfully. Right now, it's been a lot of controlling the market, controlling everything, getting our customer base to underneath Vida Divina worldwide. So it's something that's pretty powerful that we've been doing behind the scenes that you guys haven't noticed yet. So right now, what you guys are going to end up seeing is a launch of a company, basically, within this company that is very powerful. And I think it's going to be very powerful for your business. Like I said, one of the billion-dollar entities and billion-dollar worldwide companies in the world, most of them are using skincare. So skincare is very, very powerful. So now having the best technology within skincare, I think is going to be very, very powerful itself for us. So that's one of the things that you guys are going to notice out of this convention coming up in July. That we're going to be making some big announcement. We will have the former CEO of the company, of the skincare line, up on stage, and he's going to be talking about the technologies and everything else. He's going to be, they're going to show how the product works. Not only have we absorbed that company completely, but we are going to move our plant, because we have a plant right now in Tennessee, by the way. So just so you guys know at this moment, thanks to this company, there's a big plant that with machinery and everything else that we're planning on moving to California, the whole thing by the end of September. So it's one of the big movements that we're doing also, so we can bring it back home and make sure that everything is looking good. Now, there's a couple other products that you guys must be aware of that's coming up. The next product that you guys are going to see is the lean products that you guys are aware of, you guys known and been very aware and been using a lot of, because the sales are just tremendous worldwide. We are changing the name of lean to fuel at the moment, and there's a reason for that. So just so you understand, so people are going, okay, why would you change the name of a product that is selling and so popular within the company? Well, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but ever since we launched lean, we never trademarked the name. Didn't think about trademarking the name at that time. And now there's like 7 different companies out there with the name lean as their shake. After us, and basically they've been trying to everything they can do to duplicate and everything else. And instead of fighting that war, I thought, why not change the name, make it to something that is more powerful. Not only that, but upgrade the product line, so the product line will be even more powerful than it was before. Because now, as you guys have heard, we have all these new machines that do nanotechnology, basically. So we're able to even make the ingredients within the product even stronger. So it just... oh, excuse me. Let me get some water. And one of the really cool deals about that is that, a lot of the products that you guys well know within Vida Divina, the ingredients are going to be more packed inside now, because the technology behind what we have with the nanotechnologies and everything else and the machinery that we have is something that is spectacular. So, for example, in lean, every single serving is going to have more of each ingredient in it. So it's going to be even more potent than it was before, without changing the flavor, without changing the texture, without changing any of that. So it's something that's going to be pretty powerful. So as soon as you guys start seeing these products as fuel coming out, you're really going to start feeling that fuel in you. So it's going to be pretty, pretty powerful. So right now, that's one of the things that we are right now working on. And the third product, that we are going to be launching at conventions, you guys know, we have been, a lot of you known, because we've brought a lot of you into the study. We have a new capsule for, I don't want to say weight loss, it's like assistant to the weight loss. Like if you're doing life, fantastic. If you're doing ACG, if you're doing just the shakes and you're doing something, this capsule will assist you to dropping a lot of weight. And I'm going to actually talk to you guys about what it does today, okay? And all you do is take one capsule in the morning, and that's all you're going to have to take. That's it. One capsule every day in the morning. And it's going to be pretty powerful. Why? Because when you guys see it, we are calling this capsule Sculpt Max. So you guys are going to see it out in the market, on the convention as Sculpt Max. And what it does is it's just if you're just using Sculpt, this is going to help you all day long, just tremendously helping. Now let me just read you some of the white paper that's behind the technology that is in these products. Okay, let me just bring that up. So this is what we have. And the reason I can speak about this, by the way, we're doing medical studies so that we can talk about a little bit more on what we're doing. But we are also this is a trademarked product that it's we have the patents to and everything else. This is not something that somebody else can bottle up and do. So it's pretty awesome in what it is, and this is what we're concentrating ourselves more and more. Like you're going to see a lot of patented trademark products coming through the pipeline within the next years. They're going to be phenomenal. But this is a unique natural weight loss ingredient. It has a natural weight loss ingredient that is patented to us. What this ingredient can do, it can form a layer of fat insulation film on the human intestinal wall. So it starts like putting something like a film around your intestinal walls where all the absorption of all the nutrients, all the negativity, the sugars, all that stuff, it gets absorbed into your body, and that's the small intestine. Okay, so it does this. So the excess oil is not absorbed like in foods and a lot of different things and fats. It's not absorbed, and it's blocking the excessive absorption of fat within your body. Okay. So what does this mean is that with this capsule, what it's going to do with this film it's going to help you for 24 hours, is not going to permit the majority, not all of it, the majority of the fat that you consume every day. So it's kind of like a cheat sheet. For example, you can be, like for me, I don't know if you guys have noticed weight loss in myself, and I have not, been on a diet. If you guys have eaten with me or eaten anywhere or seen me eat, and sometimes it's disgusting. I eat a lot. All right, it's just I'm not ashamed of it either. But it's like I love to eat, and I'm not gonna, if you'll see me in the East Coast, like if I'm in Philadelphia, I'm eating Pat's, sandwiches at middle of the night. I'm at Pat's. That's about it. If I'm in New York, you will see me at a phenomenal steakhouse. If I'm in Miami, you're going to see me doing the same thing. So I got one of these tremendous defects that I love to eat. So it's like one of those things. So for me, it's been very very difficult to really stay on a diet. So imagine me losing weight. And have you guys seen me? I've lost over 60 pounds now since January. If you guys noticed it on the photographs, and sometimes when you see me on live, and I've been eating everything. I mean, it's not like I have stopped eating. As a matter of fact, I think I'm eating more stuff than I should be eating. Than I usually eat. So it's just, but I've been using this one capsule. That's all I've been doing. And it's not like I can't do a diet. Like I will be starting a diet, and I think I'm going to be, well, my wife wants me to get into a diet before the convention comes, but so I might just indulge her in that in the next couple of weeks, especially when I've seen all these people with some phenomenal results, and I don't want to be the only one not, especially when we're on stage. So, figuring all this, I've been using just this one capsule, and just with the capsule alone, I've been noticing weight loss tremendously from, and like I said, eating a lot more and everything else. So imagine now doing it with a diet. Imagine now doing it with something else, okay? So as it blocks, for example, while it blocks all these oils and fats within your body, it's also preventing access from fat being absorbed. Fundamentally, people lose weight with it, okay? This product has a unique formula enriched in lipolytic, if I didn't say it right, lipolytic enzymes, okay, organic acids and other substances which increase fat burning within your body also. So not only is it going to stop fats from coming into your body, but it will also burn fats that's already in your body. You guys got that? So it's pretty cool in the way it works. And then it also, for example, improves the body's metabolic function. So it just starts burning and making sure that, you got a lot more energy in you, which basically is something that's pretty cool. Now, effectively, it also starts, let me read this so you guys can look at it. I can say it on my own, but it's basically, it reduces free fat and reduces the glucose that enters into your cells to synthesize into natural fat. So basically, what that means in the white paper is that this product kind of prevents sugar from coming into your blood cells. So imagine somebody who is not fond, or his body is not fond of sugar at the moment. How powerful can it be if the sugar doesn't synthesize into your body during this time that you're using it? To me, that is something that's pretty powerful, and I think it's going to be life-changing for a lot of people. And that's why I'm excited about it. As a former diabetic, in 2010, I think, it's one of those things that I've always looked for. It's something that I've always looked for, something that, that's why if you ever see me drinking a soda for any reason, it's always going to be like a zero now. You'll never see me drinking like an actual sugar soda, out of everything. Or products, I look for zero now a lot, because we've just been accustomed of, if we can really lose that one ingredient, sugar, from synthesizing into your body, from white bread, synthesizing into your body as sugar, man, you know what it can do to your body? The help that it can happen. So to me, it's pretty powerful, because all it's going to do is, it's not going to be a miracle capsule, but what it's going to do is going to be this awesome tool that's going to help you reduce weight without even thinking about it. So that to me it's kind of cool in the way it's working, and the way it looks, and the way it's going to be. So look for that at the convention. We will have these products available at the convention. I don't know how long after the convention we will have them for everyone else. Okay, that's it could be a few months and everything else. Some of these containers that we'll have at the convention are not the containers we'll be using for the field, so that's why we're not bringing them out. It's just we'll bring them out for the people who want to have some, try it, and utilize it, and have testimonials and all that stuff. So you guys are going to see all that. The other line of products that we have that are coming out is a pretty powerful, like I said, this nanotechnology and everything else that we got has helped us create new things that I think are out of this world. For example, we will have a green one of those green shakes that a lot of companies have at this moment. Have you seen those? Like, they look green, they look disgusting, they taste disgusting most of the time, right? When you drink it, you go like, wow, you gotta really, not like it. You're like, what is this? It's like chewing grass. Like from outside. It's horrible, but there's a lot of good stuff in it, right? What about if we can take this nanotechnology, put all these plants in there, all these green plants, remove the flavor, not most of the flavor, not all the flavor, but most of the flavor, and add good flavor to it, like apple juice, or like something that your kids will love. Imagine now taking within 1 cup all your greens that you will need a day, all your vitamins and minerals that are coming from the earth, not from a vitamin, not from something synthetic, from an actual plant. And then you'll be able to drink that, have it taste like pineapple juice or apple juice or something great, and all of a sudden, you're taking all your plants and vegetables that you need a day in just that one, in that one serving. How cool is that? So we're able to do that now, and basically you guys are going to see the very first one of this. And this is going to blow your minds, because I know there's other green shakes out there, but I know if you've tried them, they're not good. They don't taste good. They might do a lot of good for you, but now imagine having double the power of nutrition than any other shakes have, but with a phenomenal flavor. How cool will that be, right? And then we call it the triangle of life, because we're having the greens, all your greens, and then we're going over to all your red vegetables and fruits, like the fruits and vegetables with the antioxidants and everything else, and then have that taste like berries instead of tasting. The reds are usually the bitter vegetables of them all, right? They're the ones that you can't force your kids to eat it. They're the ones that are hiding within the, if your chairs had holes in them with little stoppers at the end of it, they'll pull in the stopper, they're sticking all the vegetables in it. I used to do that all the time. There's no way that I want that in there. So imagine now having all these vegetables, all these reds, in a portion of them that, if you have enough of these antioxidants, these minerals, these vitamins are in it, it just makes your body a whole lot healthier right off the bat. See, a lot of us are not healthy, not because we don't take care of ourselves. A lot of us are unhealthy because we believe food is the key to your health. Now, the problem to that is that every food you have right now, even vegetables, are so they're so missing a lot of, they're so impoverished, basically. And a lot of these fruits and vegetables right now, like for example, how many of you, like for example, I remember when I was a kid, I used to love watermelon. I used to cut the watermelon in half with a spoon, and I used to eat it all the time, and that was my treat, and it was cheap so far. I loved it, Now you open up a watermelon, it just tastes like water. You have to add stuff to it, like you add a little salt, a little this, a little that, a little chili powder, whatever you got. You got to put some flavor into it now, right? You got oranges. How many of you guys open up oranges? They're not as sweet as they used to be. How many have seen a radish? A radish, you cut it open, it used to be hot as a pepper. Now they're like water. They're nothing. They're like, they don't do anything to you no more. How about, there's a lot of fruits out there. Like, for example, imagine an apple, just a simple apple. An apple has 1,300 chemicals on its skin only. People know this. It's like you have so much stuff that, is to maintain that apple as fresh as possible for as long as possible is not a fresh apple, for example. So it's like, all this stuff that we're taking in is kind of destroying the health part of ourselves. It's kind of destroying what, the longevity part of our life, So what does this do? It just gives you that power back, because you've got fresh, vegetables to a point that you just drink it in about 8 ounces of a drink, or red ones, and then all of a sudden we have the trifecta. For example, the triangle of life. The third one is all your omegas that you need. Now, most of you don't take omegas. Most of you don't have those type of minerals. We don't need enough fish, for example, to have the right omegas inside of us like we're supposed to. And unfortunately, our bodies are designed for this. So what did we do? And I know a lot of you don't like the omega capsules because of the fishy smells and all that stuff, right? Like me, I don't want to hiccup fish. It's like there's no way. To me, that's one of the reasons when somebody asks me, why don't we have an omega? Hey, Vida Divina, the only thing it needs is an omega. Omega is the only thing we need. I hear that all the time. But to me, it's like, I don't, for me, I don't want to be, talking to somebody and smelling like fish breath. It's like, no. I talk all the time. And I'm speaking to people all the time, and I don't want that kind of, that feeling that maybe somebody's smelling my mouth and it smells horrible. It's not for me. So what did I do? Right now we're having the same thing, a shake with the micro technology that we have in. We kind of removed all that, so we're bringing in all these different types of omegas into this, and then we're adding a phenomenal pineapple flavor to it. So it's like, when you taste it, you will know. It's you got this little pineapple, little coconut, it's kind of like a pina colada almost, but you got nutrition coming in. Your kids are gonna love this. So we got this line of products that we're also launching there. We will have samples for everybody at the convention. We will have, I can't guarantee they're going to be ready because we're waiting on containers. Like, for example, we're waiting on bags to be printed and sent right now. It's a madhouse right now trying to get containers. That's why coffee took so long to come out online and everything else. To get the containers printed and shipped and all that has just been havoc. So we are ordering right now some canisters that are going to be only for the event. Basically, we're not going to have, we don't want, that's not the look we want for it. They're going to be in bags, just like the bags that you guys have seen, like these ones, like the pure bags, basically they're going to be exactly like this with those with the green, the reds, and the omegas hooked up to this. So it's going to be pretty good. And that's kind of what we want. We're also working on sachets, maybe by the end of the year of those products. So you'll have sachets of these products, so you can share them with people, so they can actually try them. So that's pretty cool. So that's kind of what we're doing at the moment, and we're working on that. And plus, I don't know if you guys seen, but we're moving into a brand new building. So if you guys ever in the area, and you try to go into the 1700 Milliken Avenue, it still says Vida Divina on top, and it'll probably keep that Vida Divina. But we're renting it to another company at this moment, so it's not us in that building. We've literally moved. We've literally moved into a phenomenal looking building. We will be having the grand opening on Friday morning. We will have the exercise, which I heard that your girl Tasha is going to be leading a couple of those exercise movements. They're going to be there, it says with a couple people there, and you guys going to see the parking lot alone is you can park over 500 cars. Just let me tell you that. It has over 500 spaces in it. The space itself is going to be fantastic. You guys are going to see a beautiful stage, and you guys are going to see these people out there training people. It's going to be a nice little exercise. And after that exercise bit, and everybody's all calm and nice, we're going to have some tables out there, with a lot of different things. Also, and then we're going to have the launch of basically the ribbon cutting entrance to the building itself. Now, for a lot of you who have not seen the building, let me just kind of sneak it on you at this moment, okay? Let's see. Let's just show you guys this, because we're working right now. You got here you go. You got right now. See, this is our lobby right now. This is a brand new lobby. Right now, there's no logos on it, obviously, and everything else. You see paint cans on the floor because they're working right now. They're very strongly working on getting everything together, everything done. It's looking beautiful, but, let me show you what the building looks on the outside, okay? So you guys see it. I think it's a little more interesting when you see it. Here you go. Let's see if it's one. Okay. Here. Our neighbors is actually FedEx with all the planes and everything next to Ontario Airport, okay? So you guys understand. Let me see here. Check this out. So you guys can understand what it looks like right now. That's one of the buildings. As you guys are driving up, you see this. That is our brand new building right there. This is the building we just built for our warehouse on the other side, next to it. All right? So we're sitting on almost 10 acres of land right there. Let me get you a better picture of that. That was me driving up to it this morning. Let's see here. Let's get you a better picture of what it looks like. I thought I had it on really close, but here, let me just show you guys. Here. No, I'm going to have to owe you guys that one, but here's a picture from a distance. Let's see here. See if I can share this. That's basically the two buildings together. That's the entrance. We've already chopped down a lot of these trees that are in front of it. Like, not chopped it down, just shortened them so it doesn't cover the building itself and everything else. We just painted that left building red. So you're going to see the logos go up probably by the end of next week. We'll have a lot more of that. Basically, what I'm trying to really show is that, as a lot of companies right now, and you guys know this, there's a lot of companies that you heard that they're going under and that they, the economy, and they're crying about a lot of different things. We're growing. And the powerful part about our growth is that it's real. It's like we're moving, at a very quick pace to do a lot of quick things that like a lot of companies are not doing. And that's pretty powerful, I think, in itself. And, when a lot of people don't see this, it's pretty powerful. Check this out. Let me see if I can put this together really quickly. Let me see here. Let's go to... And just so you guys understand how fast we've grown, let me show you this. I think you guys will kind of enjoy this. If not, I'm enjoying it. Let's see here. Here you go. Let me show you something. This is... Here we go. I'm like skimming through a lot of this really quickly because a lot of different things. I'm trying to find a good shot here. what is impossible too. Well, this is, let's see here, where is this? Last, oh, see that. Let's share. You guys can see that. That is one of our old offices. That's the first office for Vida Divina we had, when we were launching in Fontana, California. And this, we outgrew this place pretty darn quickly. Then we have, for example, as we're moving forward, let's see if we can get a nice shot of the building here. We just did a lot. We've grown a lot, a lot of different, we went from that little building to the big monstrous building that you guys know at Milliken. It took us, a lot of build out, a lot of work. And I'm talking about, this is a little over 6 years, basically, on all this that we did. Okay. So as you guys are looking at this, for example, this is our original crew right here in front of the building. So this was the original Vida Divina crew at, corporate, basically. As we were starting all that, so that's not the shot of the building that I wanted to show you guys, but it'll just have to do. But it was a much smaller building than what, people were, knowing about. This is one of our affiliates, basically, picking up coffee. And I thought that was funny because this lady picked up almost, as soon as coffee opened up, obviously she filled her car up with coffee. And you guys love the coffees, I know. Let's see here. So here it is. Here's a shot of the building, basically, but from inside of a car. This is the quickest one I can find right now. You can see that from the outside, right? Pretty cool. That's where we all started. That's Vida Divina, 2016 to 2018-ish, a little over 18. Basically, we started from that place right there. It was just monstrous. The movement that we created during that same time, it was pretty awesome. And I think we haven't stopped doing a movement that big. It's just we've been just growing every single. You guys seen the growth that this company has done with you guys. It's just, we thank every single one of you, because obviously this is not a one-man job. It's like we've done crazy amounts of of growth, basically, within what it is Vida Divina. We became one of the top 100 companies in the world. In the first year in, we came in at 61, at 85 the year two, so it was pretty powerful. We had meetings. In this little building, we had centers to do meetings with 300 people. So that's why when we built the new facility at Milliken, it was for 1,000. We wanted to make sure we can get 1,000 people in the door. I think it was that was the goal, But obviously, when we finally opened up the warehouse at Milliken, it was one of those that it was not enough. It was not enough. It was not, powerful enough. Here's the last day in that building, by the way, so you guys can see that. This is me in the last, crying, basically. It looks like I'm pouting, but this is me in the last day. You see, we took down the logo. This was my office, And, when people understand the work we put into this building, it was hard to let it go. This is one of our lobbies that we had, as you enter to the theater inside. This was a theater inside that sat 300 people. We had the logo on top and everything else, And unfortunately for me, people who are using this right now as a school, so you're still using the same stage. They're still using, most of the building the way it was before. So I love to really look at it that way. At least it was something that was pretty powerful, right? Then, for example, I hope I'm not boring you guys, but this is nostalgic for me. Basically, as we're talking and we're pushing, I want you guys to see what a dream can happen if you really put yourself in the mindset is like making it happen and not stopping no matter what's going to happen, no matter what people say and everything else. Now, we moved over to this new building during that same time, which, let me see, Ontario. Let's see if we can get this. Okay. It's funny because a lot of, people say that people are very, very good at looking up stuff, and I'm not. So, when we had our very first Vida Divina events, okay, and this is I want to show you guys this because I think it's important, okay. Our very first Vida Divina event. Let me see here. Here it is. Okay. It was in Ontario, California. It was Vida Divina #1. It's 2016, by the way. This is when we're launching. We still had no products, okay? We had, for example, we still had not created the product. We still have not done a lot of different things. This was our event with nothing. Literally nothing. This was our event. There was over, I think it was 1,500 people at this event. It's pretty powerful. We've had great response from the market. We had our bottles and everything else. There's Ulysses Alanis and Angel Flores on stage. It's funny, he's on stage with jeans and a shirt, $1 million earner, right? With jeans and shorts. Our great friend of mine, now you'll know this man, came down to help us launch. You probably recognize him right away. This was something that was phenomenal for us because, the belief system that, we can create something and make it powerful, it was pretty good. If you guys know who we're looking at, that it's, there's a dream here. There's something that is powerful, that, we have, to push for, So it's pretty good. And then from here, this is where we launched Vida Divina. So you guys, as we launched Vida Divina, there was a lot of people who expected a lot from the company itself as we already launched it. Let me show you this. This is pretty cool. These are right here are the original capsules for Vida Divina. These are our original containers. They're custom containers. Have you guys seen them? They had the logo on the lid and everything else. They're beautiful. Only problem is that they couldn't mass produce them at the speed we need them. So we had to kind of cut back away from having something custom and kind of making sure that we can do something very quickly so we can supply the world as fast as possible, right? So you guys see that, it's pretty powerful. Here is, as we're looking into, building wise, he's a great friend of mine, as we're sitting, and we're talking about the future, basically, of what we're doing with Vida Divina, and you guys will know this person too. I know he's with God at this moment, but it's pretty powerful. Look at this. It's something. I had Latasha call him one time. I had him call Latasha, I think, one time, and she kind of fell backwards when she listened to him, and we were talking, having a conversation. But imagine being able to sit and converse and how powerful. This is and I knew him way before, basically, way before Vida Divina, and we've been great friends for a very long time. And every time he came around, his son is a phenomenal friend of mine. And we've been looking to creating some product line for his son and stuff like that. So we've been working on a lot of different things that, we still love this man and what he's done for this culture and this world, and basically what it basically has done for us too. As he was, he was one of the first people saying, I'm with them. I'm with these guys. These guys are, these guys are the right deal. They're the real deal. This is a photograph of the original building, Milliken, that you guys recognize when we purchased it. I see here, where did this go? Here, share. This is the original building before we put our logos and everything on. You see the whole front yard was filled with these plants. And there's nothing, there's only sidewalk that you can get to the end. It was just, to me, I didn't like it, right? But you'll see the love and admiration of some of our affiliates, and even my wife and myself, my kids. You'll see us, like here's a photograph of my wife, so you guys see, not kidding around, with a shovel, making sure that, we take all these plants out because we're going to make it a park. We're going to make it like such a beautiful place. There's my son, my kids, the people, there's an affiliate there. We're trying to take these plants, and they're just huge and difficult to do, but we had to do it, and we did, and how did it look? It ended up looking like a beautiful park at the end, if you guys ever visited. So it was pretty cool the way that the building looked and we ended up with the final project. For example, let me show you guys. This was plans, basically, for the building itself. As we are looking and we're constructing, we put over $3 million into this building, converting this building into a office space plus theater plus reception and all the office space for the corporate team and everything else. It wasn't something simple. It was something that we wanted to make sure that you guys knew you had a home, and not only a home, but that it was the real deal. It was not one of these pretend companies that always come out and say things about. So this is the starting of the building inside, because if you guys knew, we knocked the original we had a little tiny office in there, just a little tiny. It was all warehouse. It was like, we're talking about 53,000 square feet of warehousing. So it's like, it's pretty huge. But here's the deal right here. This is when we started building this was part of the walls for the theater, as we're thinking of what we're building. And it ended up being, the funny thing is, when we finished it finally, it was too small for us. So it's something that, we're looking at, warehousing, how we can build it. And people were thinking the city was fighting us every step of the way because they didn't understand the dream. They didn't understand what we wanted to do with this warehouse. They're going like, why would you do that to a warehouse? Why not go to a retail space? Why not do something else? Why? That's the only thing they were pushing, and they were always pushing back. But see, a lot of people could be pushed back, but if you have a dream and you have an idea and you permit somebody or the government or anybody to tell you you can't, I think we're dead in the water. So, we literally pushed back to what we wanted, what we wanted to accomplish. We pushed the city. We did everything that we should do to make sure that everything happens. This is kind of like, these are the doors to the theater right there that you guys are, a lot of you walked through before. Let's see here. This is, as we're walking through, we were building this. This is, so this is a lot of nostalgia here. When you're looking at this, this is my wife and myself. As we're planning and what we're looking at, and everybody looking at us as crazy people. Like, you're nuts. You're not. They're looking at us like, what are you doing? You're crazy. Why do this? Why do that? And they're questioning us every single step of the way. And to me, that was just ridiculous. To me, it was like, nah. And so here is pretty cool. Let's see here. And as we were building this, by the way, we're still in the other building. We had not moved out. Remember the last pictures when we moved out? We have not moved out yet. People didn't even know about this building at this moment. We were very quiet about it for a very, very long time. And as you look at it right there, that's when we started painting the first red. So that's to me, it's iconic for us, because that's when we started putting our mark on this building, making sure that the building, became what it's supposed to be for us, right? It's like, even before the logos came out, like with this new building that you just saw right now, just the red on the building, it just kind of puts our flag on it, and says, that's it. Now the construction phase and everything else inside of it, it's a little different, because we're working, and we're working towards what we want, So to me, this was very, very powerful. This was part of the office space. That's why you see that low roof there, and everything else that we're trying to build within this thing for our, also our corporate team and everything else inside, right? This after it was already, the front was painted, I was proud and happy, at that moment in time, so, I hope I'm not boring you guys, but I think is powerful in the message that you guys will see at the end because of that. Let's move a little forward. You guys can see a little bit more. This is now when the signs were being put up on this building. And remember one thing, we just let go of this building. So, I mean, it's like somebody's already living in it at this moment. We already knocked the walls down, the theater and everything else that we built, over $3 million of construction inside of it, just down, thrown away. This is, people here is where the industry started looking at us and saying, these guys literally, they're doing this. This is crazy. A lot of the industry, they couldn't believe what we were putting together. Not only that, but remember, we had 10 buildings around the world by this time, okay? We had, 10 buildings worldwide that were phenomenal in other parts of the world and other parts of the country, other parts of the countries out there. So for them to see this was just amazing. And this is pretty cool right here. Here you go, right here. Check this out. There's a meeting. You can see the toilets still there because we're building bathrooms and all that stuff, for the kind of this was inside the theater. This was the first meeting in the theater right there. You see it right there. They're sitting. This was what we planned the theater to be. It got very close to it. Obviously, wasn't exactly like that, but it got very close to people who were there, and visited the place. Saw this is what the lobby was originally supposed to look like. But when the city didn't permit us to do a second level in the corporate side, we had to expand the corporate level on the floor, and we couldn't build what we wanted to build there. But this was basically the ideas of where we wanted everything to head towards, and everything else. Okay, check this out. Okay, so that was that corporate building. I think this is the launch promo for the building when people finally knew what we were doing. If you guys remember this was the post, basically. That's when we started. Now we're already painted everything else. We already had a logo on it. We still needed the logo on the right side that's not there. But we thought, this was the perfect time to really spread the word of what we're doing, basically within Vida Divina. So, and then obviously we started to build. We ran out of space at this place. We just ran out of, this was the whole building right here. Let me show you guys. Each photograph right there. This was literally the building itself. All that parking in the back and everything else. This was the corporate this is a very, from above, obviously, you guys can see it. But, it's funny how small it looks from this angle, but if you look at, like, the parking signs and the cars, you kind of notice how huge the building is itself. Let's see here. So that was it. This is when we start adding and finishing the grass. Remember that ugly area that we're pulling off plants? This is what it ended up looking like in the front. I think, when they say your curb appeal, I think this building gave the curb appeal that was phenomenal, for what we're doing. I think it gave a lot of the industry also a lot of just going like, wow, what are these guys doing, around the world? What are these guys trying to provoke what they're doing and everything else. This was, let me see here. This was one of our first, not first, but this is one of the first machines we installed in our facility. We're making teas. I don't know if you guys can see that. Now, obviously, now our tea machines are a lot better, a lot stronger, a lot bigger. You know, it's just crazy the amount of space that we have. This was our first meeting. You know, we weren't even finished with the building, but we decided, why not have it inside? People were already tempted to see what it would look like. So this was our first meeting in our theater. You know, with no paint, nothing on the walls, no doors. You can still see construction in the background. And it was hot in there because there's no AC also. And it was a very hot day, but people really enjoyed it, right? So what else here? Let me see. Let's go move forward a little bit so you guys can see what we've now accomplishing. It's here. Okay. Let's move forward. You know, this, there you go. Or we can, oh, here we go. This is, as you guys can see, our first warehouse, that building itself. Now when we have permits and everything to be able to fill and stock it the way we're supposed to stock it with our manufacturing facility and everything there. That was that. We continue on growing, and we've been just phenomenally growing. During the pandemic, you guys noticed that we started building a new facility for a new theater because we were running so much out of space that we couldn't do our meetings anymore. There's no space. As a matter of fact, here's a space in our, here, let me see here. We started using a space in our warehouse, basically, where the trucks, you know, to try to do meetings there because we couldn't fit no more. I thought there was a picture there. Let's see. And then, you know, so we were just running out of space here. Let me just move up to 2000. So I'm skimming through here. This was when they were finishing up our lobby. You know, all this stuff has started happening as we are growing. Remember, this is our lobby, if you remember it. It's when they're putting up the logos, everything else. The carpet, you guys remember when you guys came in, the carpet that you guys see. So, I mean, this is like labor of love. Literally, it's like this is a huge labor of love. This is what our building looked like as you came in. You guys remember that? With the carpet, the theaters. There's Sam's turnout right there, visiting. You know, we were showing him around. This is with theater. This is all the chairs that, you know, basically we had for that. That's now is in color. Now people can see what it looked like. So to me, all this is a history of really putting things together and not falling back on our dream. Here's a funny picture. I shouldn't show you guys this one, but here, I think it's pretty cool. Here, look at this. And I hope I'm not boring you guys again, but this is pretty awesome. It's me on the forklift, right? My brother's in the background right there. It's like we're working late at night trying to make sure everything gets done on time and everything else. And I thought that was pretty cool. I think that's, you know, people think I'm just a CEO, but I get involved. Okay, let's see here. This skim down. Let's see here. I think you guys have to see this place. So after everything was done, let's see here. This is my boardroom that we used to have in the other building, and this was my beautiful wife here. So you guys, you know, she's enjoying the boardroom. There's still the plans on the background, plans on the table. This was the war room as we were starting everything. Okay. So Okay, here. So we're putting everything together now. Let me show you our first meeting, official meeting inside this building. It looked like this. See if I can get a good shot that shows everything. This is as people were coming in or leaving, I think. I don't know. Let me see. Let's hit play.
Sigue José Luis Pastrana. ¿Por qué se van todos?
So that was in between sets, and I'll show you guys. This. Let's actually see this right here. See if it shares to the left. You can see basically. There's, you know, there's, it ends up being pretty cool. So people start arriving, and you know, our meetings have started growing from here. Started seeing what the production level, we started adding to the production levels. That's why, you know, it looked pretty cheap back then, but you know, as we grow, you know, it looked pretty powerful. Like, look at this. This was our next meeting after we launched. Okay, so you check this out. See how that is right there? That is pretty powerful. And imagine having this inside your home. I mean, this is literally inside your home headquarters, not our hotel, not a conference, you know, place. This is literally our theater within our place. So it's pretty cool. And the way I think shows, let me skim down a little bit more here. All right, this is the first day we put in our monument logo in the corner of the street. So I thought we needed it because across the street from us is it was Toyota, the factory of Toyota is right across the street from us, and they had their beautiful logo right across from us. So I was like, we need one like them, you know. So we built that. You know, I thought it was pretty cool. A lot of you have taken pictures with that, I know. It looks awesome everywhere. Let's see here. This is again my wife enjoying our home, doing her little presentations on our cell phones, so you guys know that we really treat this as home, because you can tell, you know, she's like, don't care, you know, nobody's watching, and she's doing her Zoom call right there. Yes, so it's pretty cool. So you guys see that we're normal too. Let's see. Okay, let me just skim through this. That way we guys don't want to. Let's give you a shot that you guys can understand a little. Here you go. This is Dionisio Rosales, one of our diamonds. Within, let's see here. Let's see. You know, we have this digital screen that we just love to like watch a movie on with our sound and everything. It's like just amazing. Literally, it's something that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Okay. Let's move forward so you guys can see what we've done. Here's a shot of our lobby. This is the way our lobby looked. You know, so you guys you see why it was so special. This is our lobby. This is the amount of people in the lobby. You know, they're walking around, cash and carry in the background. People are filling up product. You know, to me, this was special. This is very special because you don't see this in any network marketing company. I don't care if it's Herbalife or Amway or Shackley's or, you know, even Mary Kay's and all that. You don't see people like this within the company itself. It's just like people are looking at us like, what is this? This is crazy. The kind of culture you're building is nuts. People didn't believe we can do something like this. And I think that's what Vida Divina is. It's a culture of just bringing people together from around the world and making sure that everybody feels the love and the gratitude that people have for their assistance, their growth, everything else that they can get basically within life. It's pretty cool. We have this was our very first. Let me show you for all you guys that you want to come down and you earned the rose gold. This is what we do with rose gold. Okay, so you guys know, what do you guys do when you have a rose gold meal? Well, this was our Christmas dinner for rose gold and above. Everybody who's rose gold, we sit, especially at corporate, and we create something that I think you will never forget. A phenomenal dinner, waited on, and everything else. So people really, all of you, everybody who qualifies rose gold and above, usually you're invited to this. So it's something that I think it's something really cool. We're going to do this year, and every year after, so it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, so you'll see that happening not only that, but you get a training, rose gold training from me that day that I think is pretty powerful too. Okay, let's see. Let's just keep moving forward. Okay. Let's just jump now to the new building. So you guys see what the new building is at. Okay, here we go. Okay, now I told you we ran out of space. You guys saw the way the theater was, right? You guys saw the theater in the position that it was in. Oh, here's something pretty cool. This is one of our labs inside the making tea. Okay. And it's pretty cool. That's my dad right there sitting down. This is after everything's over. Don't think he's lazy. Everything, all the production was over. They're just waiting to see if we need anything else before they shut everything down and start cleaning up. There's one of our helpers there. You see, this is one of our labs that we have in-house. So you can see that inside, when you come visit, basically, you'll see those type of production rooms and stuff like that, basically for our products. Let's see here. All right, let's see here. This is there's a story to this because we built this building here. This is a couple blocks away from that building, Milliken. This is a building on excise that you guys get everything shipped from that you guys see. Let me show you this building. What's special about this building is that we built this building to be a theater. As you see those big windows in the front, those were supposed to be entrances. That's why they're shaped all the way to the floor. We changed it because of COVID. We started feeling our warehouse extremely different. So this is when the walls finally went up and we finally put some paint on it, but it's like we finally put these doors up and windows up so you guys can see basically what it looked like. It still had dirt on the floor and everything else, but this was supposed to be a theater. Because of COVID and the amount that, because we quadrupled in size during COVID, we needed this as a warehouse. So we started converting it over to a warehouse and legalizing as a warehouse and getting racks legalized to be in there, the very high racks to be put in and everything else. So that's some of the things that obviously happened. And let me see if I can show you guys what it looked like in the warehouse, in the other warehouse, in the theater and everything else. Let me see if I can show you that. So you guys get an idea. This is the day we got the permit to occupy after we built it. Here, let me see. This was a beautiful day because we needed this. We couldn't fit no more. And we finally got this occupation permit for it. So this was a picture of me and my wife saying hello to our new building and everything else. Some people ask me, why wasn't it red in the front from the beginning? Because the city didn't permit the red yet. So it's like we had to put the red on after we got our permit to occupy. And then so Once we got the permit to occupy it, we started painting the roof, and the whole wall and everything else. Let me see here. All right. Let's see here. Here you go. Here, this is when we just finished painting it. I got Mr. Manuel Wilkins with silver. We just showed him right there. That's beautiful building. Still needs the logo on the very top to make it ours. We still could not. We're still not able to put anything in the warehouse. Racks and everything until we got the permits for that. But before that, this was the lobby basically in this Milliken building. Okay, right there. See, there's pallets behind it, everything, and there's pallets in front of us that you guys don't see at the moment, but you'll see it right now. So, I mean, we were filling up pallets everywhere, wherever we can, because we were running out of space. We couldn't do anything else. Here's a shot of that lobby, same lobby from the other side. The picture. This is from my camera on top. If you guys remember this, you guys will notice this was our lobby, but it has truckloads of product inside of it, right? Because we just didn't fit no more. All the couches were flipped over and stacked on one side and stuff like that. Our theater was packed. Here, look at the picture of a theater right now. Here. This was our theater. And you see there's a truckload of herbs on one side, and there's a truckload of ingredients, and there's just truckloads of of our product produced and ready to go. This was the actual theater that that you saw those people in at one point. So we didn't fit no more. So that's why we were forced to open up that new building and to make it a warehouse also, because it's just we didn't have that space no more. It was something that was amazing, and the amount of growth that was happening basically from that. Here's my old office on Milliken. So we went from there. This was our new building when we were coming in. That was one of our diamonds. There's us sitting on the not doing anything, just standing on the forklift right there. Those are the racks that we're waiting for the permits. Basically, there's some of the racks stuff. Everything else was outside. This is the new building, the new warehouse. Obviously, the picture there. When they visited and everything else. So this is the 1700 building. When they visited too. So you guys can kind of see all that, basically, as we are growing. Okay? So let me move a little bit further on. You guys saw that building. Now, what makes it powerful, my friends, is that, from one movement to another, we started, growing to the point that right now we're about to open up our 4th main building for Vida Divina. Oh, here's a beautiful picture of my wife here. I can share this with you guys. This is when I gave her that ring. She pretending she doesn't love it, but look, she does. She loves it, Okay, let's see. Who doesn't love a ring that size with all these diamonds and everything? She's ashamed of wearing it, by the way, but I forced her to wear it. So just so you guys know. She goes, it's too much. Doesn't want people thinking she's, money or money's on her way or anything else. So this was one of our productions within that theater after we moved all those pallets out. This was the last production that we did with a crane and everything within the building. It's pretty cool, so you guys can see it. So we're showing off. Yeah, this was that during the epidemic. Remember, we did that convention live, to everybody, online only. It was some really cool, but this is why we had the giant cranes in there and everything else. It was literally like a TV studio. It's pretty cool. But obviously, if we would have done it live, we couldn't fit the kind of people that that wanted to come to this event, that we had. So it was pretty special. This is where we handed out a lot of rings to a lot of people during that event. So we started now with a new building. Now the new building, This was our last convention. So you guys, if you guys not aware, we crowned a new crown at this convention, and hopefully we're crowning one of you pretty quickly. Hopefully that one of you. This was at the convention. So we will be doing something similar to this, but we haven't gotten a new crown. We only have two at this moment. She could not kneel, so don't blame her. Look how big that stage is. Custom capes. Ask them to bring the crown. Or crown fell. There it is. Alrighty. Let's see. That was our last event. That's why I kind of would love for everybody to be there. Usually at these events, so because I think it just opens minds up to something that's pretty powerful, and what it can do really is, especially this was Manuel Wilkins. We crowned him too that day. But here we go. We will have medals, pins. I know that last time we had a professional singer come do the concert, the very, very famous, one of the most Latin famous singers in the world at the moment. She came down to the concert, and because of her, that's why we won't do this error again. They shut things down before she came down, where they needed the time, they needed her to, queue up and everything else, which concert was phenomenal, but yet it killed us because we couldn't give people the pinning and the stuff that we wanted to for everybody. So I think it was, I would rather have the pinning than everything else. So this year if we're having anybody, it's going to be at the beginning, it's going to be a few songs, and it's just, and from there on, it's going to be something pretty cool. So that was that. Let's see here. New building. Okay. Let's go back to the new building so you guys can see now where we're heading and what we're becoming, basically, from here. And I think it's pretty important, as you guys see, that you guys understand that there's, to me in my heart, there's something that's big when a company is not supposed to grow this fast. I'll be honest with you. We're not supposed to grow like this. And I'm the first one that can tell you that. We're not supposed to be this big. And to me, it's kind of powerful in many ways, because when you see this, it proves one thing, that, this is me driving up, and when you're seeing this, it just baffles me every single time. I'm driving up, and when people see these two massive properties, the one we built was supposed to be a theater, now this huge, massive property next to us, and there's so much parking, and there's so much stuff that we don't have. There's truckloads of space and everything else. And less than 7 years ago, people said it couldn't be done. People said to me, this could not happen, that you're crazy. People laughed at me when I was leaving a check for $12.5 million in 6 months. We would have done $24 million a year that year in another company. People ridiculed us because we made decisions that others could not fathom why. And I can tell you one thing: if you have a dream, no matter what it is, my friends, no matter what you're facing or what you're doing or what is in front of you, no matter what you're looking at, it is important that you know that no matter what you focus on, no matter what your limitations are, no matter who you are, you can accomplish anything that you want. You can be whatever you want. You can create whatever you want. I never in my mind dreamed that when we launched in 2016, that we would have this many people on, that we would be doing over $875 million in sales. We never in my mind thought that was possible. When I launched Vida Divina, we made product for about 10,000 people, thinking 5,000 people were going to show up. In our first 3 days, we had 46,000 people sign up to the business. By the end of 7 days, we had 68,000 people in the system. By the end of the year, we had over 100,000 people in the system, and just been growing. I tell you these things because there's a lot of you sitting here with doubts in what you can accomplish. There's a lot of you sitting here with the mindset of saying, I'm just here, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here, and we don't want to, I don't want to move. I don't want to do it. I don't want to sell. I don't want to be that next person because I want to be that person only online. I'm telling you one thing. It's a lot of hard work to get to where we're at. And I've worked my ass off, and I'll be telling you this. I have, people know me as a person who does not sleep, a person who moves. You'll see me in different countries. You'll see me in multiple places around the world very quickly. And I don't give up on dreams. I don't give up on anybody who has a dream. I want to make sure that if you're here right now and you're listening to me, you have an opportunity to do something that maybe within your friends and family, maybe within the people who know you, maybe to those non-believers think you can't. But the deal is this. I've heard out through all my career all that bullshit, basically. Excuses, lies, people tell themselves every single day. And I hear this all the time and I'm telling you this right now because I've heard it from a lot of you too. And a lot of you have success, but yet you still say these things, and I don't understand it, and I can't grasp why. I hear them saying things like, I'll start on Monday. Or, it's not my fault. Or, it's not fair. Or, I'm just too damn tired. My personal favorite one, that's basically my personal favorite one of all time. People say, I'm just too tired. I can't do it. Or the other one that he goes, I don't want to sell. I'm not a salesperson. We're all salespeople. And you got to understand that part, because if you don't understand we're all salespeople, you have to sell yourself. You have to sell the business. You have to sell the idea and the concept of what we're doing to be able to grow. And most people deny themselves from being able to move forward. Now let's have a real talk. Do you know what kind of people do and say these things all the time? And I don't mean to offend anybody, but it's usually people who don't care if they're going to grow or not. Some people call them like losers, or people with no dreams, or dream, just they have dreams, but they don't want to move toward them because they don't know what God gave them. They don't believe it. They don't give them they don't have that choice in what they can do. They have that loser mentality, that loser mentality through and through, until they can recognize a problem that is them. That because they don't want to do it, they don't want to compromise, they don't want to sell, they don't want to move, they want things to fall out of the sky. When they start recognizing these things, they start to improve. They start to develop a winner's mentality. I think most people will never get what they truly want. Because they don't want to believe in themselves that hard. They don't want to fight the pain of what their family's living through, or very simply, they don't want to risk themselves looking bad in front of others because they think they're going to look bad. They think that somebody else is going to make fun of them for doing whatever it is we're doing. What does a winner's mentality look like, you may ask? It means being focused on yourself and not on other people. It means having a strong desire to change your family's life from tragic to magic. It means that you are cornered in a way that you figured out that you have no more hope something's going to fall out of the sky, that you have to act and do something to make it happen. You know, it means wanting it badly. It means the willingness to work for it, whatever it is for you. You simply have to give everything you have to get whatever you want, and you can get it. We've given you the tools, we've given you the business, we've given you everything that you have to make things happen, drastically in your life, to make things positive in your life, to make things happen, explode in your life of goodness. You simply have to learn to shut down all this negativity around you. Frankly, not give a care. And I wasn't going to say care. For what others think. One of the most dangerous phrases in the English language is, what would other people say if I do this? What would other people think if they see me selling or moving or being in one of these companies? You're the only person who needs to be okay with how you live your life. You're the only person that needs to ask for permission from yourself and not others to be able to grow what you want to grow. It is drastically important that you understand that nobody needs to be giving you permission to be powerful. Nobody needs to give you permission to be successful. You don't need to look around for somebody else to tell you, yes, you can do it. You have God's permission. You have, everything that you need in front of you. I'll tell you one thing. You got to prepare yourself to be misunderstood for years. Because the majority of the people around the world will always say, what the heck is she doing? Or what the heck is he doing? Why are they doing this way? Why are they doing that way? It is very sad, but the majority of the people weren't designed to be entrepreneurs. That's why 2% of the world employs the 98%. Because the majority aren't meant to be entrepreneurs. But we ask these non-entrepreneurs for advice, and that's what kills us sometimes, because we listen. You could be hated by everyone, and if you're okay with your actions and behavior, who cares? You'll be content. You'll be loved by your family because you changed the family. You changed their lifestyle. You changed everything of what they can, what they dream they could get or not get. At the same time, you could be loved and adored by every damn person on the planet. But if you're not okay with doing the things that you have to, the only one that's going to be suffering every time you go to bed with emptiness is yourself. And it's one of the things that we have to understand 100%. See, let me tell you one thing. when it was 2010 in February, I was told I had 6 months more of life left because of an awful disease. And you know, the only thing that can cross my mind is, what am I going to leave for my kids? I had 2 kids. I was a single dad at that time. I was seeing Esther. She had 4 kids of her own. It's not like I can count on her to take care of my kids. You know, like she had her own home. The only thing I can think of is who's going to take care of my kids. You know, have you ever had that thought? If something happens to you, who takes care of the loved ones? Who's going to hug your loved ones like you hug them? Who's going to make sure that they go to college like you would? Who's going to fight for them like you would? Who's going to be doing the things that they need, the support that they need, if somebody doesn't love them as much as you do? Who? You know, one of the things that I cried about night after night, I'm looking at my 9-year-old girl at that time, saying, who's going to walk her when she gets married? Who's going to take her to college? Who's going to tell her? Who's going to tell her, I love her? You know, nobody else is going to be able to do that for us. Nobody is going to be able to tell us, you know, we'll take care of it. I don't care if it's a parent of yours, a grandparent of the other. It's who's going to take care of them. At this point, I was alone. Thank God I didn't pass away in 6 months. Thank God I'm living years and years later. That was 2010. It's 2023 right now, and I'm fantastic. 2016, 2015, I found out that I didn't pass away because, who knows? I didn't take another medicine. They said, whatever you're taking, take it. And the only thing I was taking is whatever my wife was making for me. That's what we launched this company with. You know, a lot of love, a lot of faith, because I didn't even believe in healthy products at that time. I can tell you that much. Until that doctor said that, it's like, I don't know what happened, but, you know, that phase 4, it's not there no more, and, you know, I don't know how you did it. It's powerful. You know, you have to do what makes you happy. You have to do what that you think is right for your family. You don't have to worry about what others think or what others will say about you or anything else. You know, if I did that, how would have I looked to everybody else? I just put my head down and worked because I needed to build a company for my kids. And at that time, I built, within 6 months, when they told me, I built a $100 million company. When I put my head down, I said, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue on. We launched 2016 in Vida Divina in September 14, and we haven't stopped since then. But here's something I want to share with you. All of us has different dreams. And sometimes dreams may not mean much. They might not mean much if you don't have a reason, a why behind it. In my whole life, my first why was my mom, because a lot of you know my story. I lived with a single mom, and I wanted to help her. I was able to purchase her first house, which I drove by the other day. And now she's living in a beautiful house I purchased out for her on a golf course on the 18th hole. Beautiful place. Beautiful scenery. No fence in the backyard, only like 2 feet or 3 feet of fence. So nothing covers her from the golf field, the golf course. So I feel that way. Then I was looking for another one for a long time. I had a situation where the economy didn't go too well. You guys remember the economy was not that good in certain years in the past. And I was losing everything. I lost in the stock market in a couple minutes. When that real dark day, I lost over $5 million in that stock market. And to me, it was like incredible. There's a lot of things that were happening, a lot of people killing themselves, and a lot of things because there was a lot of drastic things that happened during those times. And I just wanted to grow again. I wanted to make sure that things happened again. And I put my head down and worked. And it was all, during that time, my first wife left us. When I say us, it was me and my kids. Left us. So it made it a little more difficult for me to go out there and start working and start building and everything else, because now I couldn't leave with a baby and an 8-year-old at home. And there was a lot of things that were mounting on top of each other that didn't. You just to yourself you said, why? Why do I have to live through this? Why do I have to? What is this? What is the purpose of me suffering like this and taking along my kids with me for the ride? See, my friends, I want you to understand that a lot of us fight every day just to stay alive. Some of us fight every day just to make sure our kids have something to eat that day. They have a roof over their heads. Some of us fight every day so we can make a little bit of a change in them, where they don't have to have a boss in the future. If it's not us, the entrepreneur, we can make sure that they never see that happening. They become the entrepreneurs. That way they never have to depend on anyone. See, I've done a lot of things in my life. I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm not telling you it's been mistake-free. Now, I've earned my mistakes and I've earned my scars for that. Within Vida Divina, there's multiple times, because I've made decisions, I've lost millions and millions of dollars. Like, for example, one time we were making Factor Divina out of our plant in Mexico, and we decided to bring it over. Guess what happened to that stuff? At the border, they're like, what is stevia made from? And we go like, stevia? Plant? I thought and they're like, well, there's some cactuses that are legal, and there's not. Which cactus? We go like, we don't know it. We had to throw everything away. Imagine not only throwing 2 containers worth of Factor Divina, but having you pay for it. Like, literally, you have to pay for it, and they have to crush it in front of you. It was something that, I can't, there's no fathom. You can't even fathom the thought of saying you have to destroy. It's like building your home and you have to destroy it in front of your eyes and pay for it to get destroyed. Is that right? No. Well, I said to you before, we all have dreams. When I was going to die, one of my biggest dreams was, my biggest whys, was making sure my kids were fine. Making sure I can walk my daughter down the aisle. Making sure she had making sure she would have the wedding she deserved. And I think every kid, and I know all your kids may dream, mine did. One of the things that people don't realize is that dreams can come true. You can make things happen, even if they tell you no. You know, when they told me, my daughter goes, I would love to get married at Disneyland. And we talked to people at Disneyland. We talked to people, everything. They said, you know, a lot of people are saying you're crazy. It's gonna be extremes amounts. It's gonna be whatever. You know, one of my if somebody asked me what is one of your best accomplishments in my life, is that not only she was able to get married in Disneyland a few months ago. They brought her in Cinderella's carriage. We had a ceremony with Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse involved. There she is on the carriage. There's his stair. You know, this is one of my boys. There's cousins, family. I mean, I can pinpoint a lot of different, you know, photographs. But the most important one, to me, was this one. So whatever you're fighting for whatever your why is, for whatever you are dreaming about, and for whatever you're trying to create, even if people tell you that it is impossible to do anything, I'm telling you one thing. The possibilities of you being successful is there. There's nothing that can stop us to do whatever we want and create whatever future we want for our kids, to create that why and make that why powerful. Or anybody who puts in front of you, there's nothing we can accomplish if we never give up. At the end of the day, you can look at yourself in the mirror and be content with your choices you've made. And that's all that matters in this world. Believe in everything that you can do. And understand that within you, there is something greater than any obstacle that you will face in this world. My friends, I tell you this with my heart. If you doubt yourself just a little bit, you may never be as successful as you need to be. You have to start your own mantra in front of a mirror every day like me. You say, I am worthy. I am capable. I deserve it. I am unstoppable. I am worthy. I am capable. I deserve this. I am unstoppable. I am worthy. I am capable. I deserve this. I am unstoppable. And the more you say it within your heart and your heart believes it, there's nothing that will move you the wrong way. You will become unstoppable. God bless you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for being with us. From my heart, behalf of my wife, my family, all my diamonds worldwide, all the corporate team, all my beautiful leaders that are here right now, you, I'm talking to you. Thank you for taking your time and spending your time with me today. And I hope my words have touched you in a way that will change you. I hope that, and if it has, whatever it is, I ask you for this one favor, and this one favor alone. Take a picture with me right now. And I want you to take this picture and post it, you with me, and tell me. I want, just tag me on the photograph and say, and I want you to tell me in this post, either on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you want to put it. I don't have a TikTok, so it's not there. And just tell me what of my words touched you. What of my words helped you? What of my words will make you different from here on into the future? And if it's possible, what can we do to make you greater? My people, I love you all. Thank you so much for taking the time and being with me today. God bless. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless Vida Divina.
Thank you, Mr. Armand Puyolt. That was, just taking us down memory lane, how it started, the progress year after year to see where we are now, with the words of encouragement. That was very, very powerful. So we appreciate you for that. Thank you all for coming on to tonight. I hope we took some powerful nuggets, and see you all at the top, because the bottom is too crowded.